Welcome.
Welcome.
Housewives, a true crime YouTube channel. Thank you for joining Gretchen and I today on another true crime story involving murder. So,
What do you know?
What do you know? If murder is not your thing, you're sensitive to it, probably not the topic or the channel that you need to listen to. But if it is, and you do like true crime, like, I don't know, 99.9% of people, then this is your channel. And I would suggest you subscribe now. You will like it. We tell lots of true crime stories. And if you want more, you can go to our podcast. It's called Housewives of True Crime. You can get it anywhere, Apple, Spotify, you name it. So I want to tell you guys today about a novelist named Nancy Brophy, who wrote steamy romance novels, love affairs that also had like twists of murder. And she also wrote an essay called How to Murder Your Husband. So when Nancy's husband was actually murdered, all eyes were looking at her.
She should be like, it's like Nancy Drew, but actually Nancy screwed herself.
Nancy
Writing that
definitely screwed herself.
Yes. She's no Nancy Drew.
It was one of those things. It's like, why would you publish that? It was years before. So maybe she just thought nobody would ever find it, but they did. Gretchen, they uncovered it. Well, let me tell you how it all happened. It was Saturday, June 2nd, 2018, when Nancy's husband, Chef Dan Brophy, got to work at the culinary school he worked at in Oregon. It was a really busy day, a day that students actually stand in line and cook like they're actually at a restaurant. So it's like fast paced, the pressure's on, it's timed. It was like a final exam day. Dan, being the amazing professor that he was, he actually woke up early before he even got to school, and he let his chickens out. He picked some herbs from his garden, and he was going to sell some to his students and then also let them use some for their line fire day. And then he was going to get to work, which was about 30 minutes from his home. Dan was the first one there. He rolled up the garage door. They had like a garage door style thing on the side. He brings the stuff in from his car. He starts getting it all together when someone out of nowhere shoots and kills Dan in the back. Dan immediately falls to the ground, and the killer makes one last shot into the chest. Like pretty gnarly style, I would say. It's pretty evil. The intruder then walked out without taking anything, not his wallet, not even a loaf of bread. So you can imagine when Dan is found by his students, the news spread fast. I mean, it was a shooting at a school in Oregon. So what the heck is going on? Nancy was called, and although she didn't want to intrude on the police activity, especially because she didn't know if Dan was even involved in the shooting, she kind of was hesitant to go until Dan's mom was like, listen, bitch, get your ass over to see if something happened to Dan. So she does. And upon her arrival, Nancy's informed that Dan is the one that was deceased and her loving husband was dead.
I'm sure she was broken up about it because Dan sounds like magic. I mean, first, wakes up early. He probably made the bitch coffee. Okay.
He probably did.
Also, cooking with the fresh herbs sounds amazing. And he is very punctual, known to be there early. I appreciate people that are on time. It's a miracle we're friends.
I am not an on-time person.
No, she's not.
You know what? I self-admit it though. Like I will tell everybody, like I'm not on time, so I don't expect you to be on time. And I actually appreciate when you are not on time because I'm always late. So please also be late. Just know that I mean 10 more minutes at least. There's certain things I'm on time for, but most things I'm not. But yes, I bet you Dan did make her coffee because guess what? Dan made the coffee for all the students before they got there too.
Of course he did.
This day, Dan did not. So they knew something was off, by the way. And that's when they found Dan because they were like, what's going on? The door's locked and the coffee machine is empty. And I know Dan's here because his car is right outside and the garage door is up. So what the heck is going on? Well, police, like I said, they told Nancy that it was her husband and they were sad for her, you know, like she's now a widow. But when they pulled up some camera footage from some nearby businesses, what they saw was pretty shocking. They saw Nancy Brophy's car casing the Culinary Institute before Dan arrived at work. When
Naughty
questioned,
Nancy.
yeah, like, Nancy, how to kill your husband or how to murder your husband. Is that what it was called? Yes. How to murder your husband and get caught is what her essay should have been. When questioned how this could have happened if she was home, like she told them for the entire morning, she kind of fluctuated. She said, oh, I was at Starbucks writing that morning. Which, by the way, 30 minutes from your house, you don't go to that Starbucks. And then she went to, actually, I have amnesia. I have no idea what happened. The trauma caused me not to remember a damn thing.
This is not Days of Our Lives. People do not get amnesia in real life, okay?
I forgot about that. People do get amnesia in real life,
but not really. It happens, like they act like it on soap opera, like it's a thing.
Yeah. This is like selective memory, Nancy. What you decide you want to remember, you remember. So when police start digging a little bit into Nancy and Dan and their life, they see that Nancy has a second job. It wasn't just selling novels. Guess what it was selling?
What?
Life insurance policies that she sold to herself of $1 million on
That's
Dan.
A lot, Nancy. That's a lot.
And then when police saw that she was paying on these policies over paying her own rent or mortgage and that she was in real big debt, these were real big red flags.
Yeah.
And these red flags just kept on waving. It seemed that Nancy had dreams of traveling to Portugal, settling down in a far-off land, exotic life in Italy. And Dan was like, I'm happy cooking and foraging for mushrooms.
Who's going to watch the chickens if Dan leaves?
That's right. And Dan was like, I like hanging with my son and my grandkids.
I'll hang out with you, Dan. I've been to Portugal.
And yeah, no, Nancy wanted to go to Portugal. Dan,
I know. I'm just saying, I'll stay with Dan.
Oh,
Nancy
yes.
can go to
I
Portugal.
could see. Yeah. Okay. I could see that.
I've been. I don't need to go back.
It's true. It's a nice place. But by the way, Dan's kids were not Nancy's kids. Like his son was not Nancy's son. Although Dan's son said that Nancy was very sweet and kind to his children, they were not her own. So I don't think she had a problem leaving them. They also found out that Nancy had a little hobby of buying untraceable guns and gun kits that would go missing.
That's an interesting hobby.
Well, Nancy says that she was into that hobby because it was just research for her book that she was going to read. By the way, I think that you can just research anything online and get all the information. You don't need to actually spend $1,500 buying the shit, in my opinion, as a writer. Police and prosecutors were not buying any of Nancy's stories, but by Nancy's own admission, she is a talker. So guess what? This chick gets up on the stand to speak in her own defense. And in my opinion, this is when bad went to worse for Nancy. Nancy was going to stay out of that pretty little jumpsuit, I think, until she put herself on the stand and dug herself a nice little hole because she didn't shut her mouth. And after tripping up on all of her stories, Nancy Crampton Brophy was found guilty of murder in the 2nd degree and sentenced to life in prison with parole after 25 years, but that would make Nancy into her 90s, which she probably won't get there eating that shitty food in prison, if you want to ask me. So if you would like actually a lot more details on this story, it is on our podcast, Housewives of True Crime. I talk all about this story. We also have a lot of other stories that you would be interested in. And if you liked this one, please like and subscribe if you did not do so in the beginning of this episode. Thanks for watching.
Clink, clink.
Clink, clink.